All right, let's have the perspective of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. Now I'm being joined by the Director of Membership Services, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, Adewale Oyerinde. Thank you very much, Mr. Oyerinde, for joining us on the show. Well, I'm sure you listened to Dr. Adeniyi. What was very apt to you there from what he said? Well, he talked about private sector being the creators of job. Now, NECA is the umbrella organization of employers in the organized private sector of Nigeria. I mean, you contribute to the growth story of the economy and, of course, this employment that we're talking about. So what's happening? How are you reading this latest number released by the NBS?
Thank you for having us. I think for us, it's not really a surprise. You know, consistently over the last few years, we have sounded the alarm to government that there's a trend that we must deliberately deal with. And it behoves on government to do the needful. You know, early this year in January, the World Employment and Social Outlook report gave us the analysis that close to 1 billion persons were underemployed. And about 2.5 million will probably fall into the unemployment rate. So that creates something for us to think about. Now we are just coming from recession, and then the pandemic came up. The challenge for us, or the question we should ask is, since after the recession, what exactly have we done to reverse that trend? And the NBS, let's commend the NBA Bureau of Statistics for coming up with those figures. It's quite a bold move. Now the question for us, beyond the rhetorics of the statistics, is why did we get to this point? Why did we wait this long for this report to come? It's not as if we're expecting a magic that the unemployment rate will go down from Q3 2018, we go down and a very beautiful figure will come out in Q2 2020. We weren't expecting that. We know something will happen. And the challenge is, why did we wait this long to do it? He mentioned, he created the foundation for the discourse, basically. Now we know globally, government doesn't really create jobs. The private sector creates 9 out of every job created. And our experience in this climate has shown that government can really not manage businesses. You know, so many businesses that government, Nigerian Airways, Nigerian Railway, NITEL, Ajaokuta Steel, we have a trend and experience of government not really managing businesses very well. Then why not focus on those that can create the jobs? The issue of unemployment, let's look at it from two perspectives. Perspective of the supply side and not the demand side. Yes, we are churning out graduates. We can't control that. We can't say schools should stop producing graduates. That can happen. So we'll keep producing graduates. Now, from the demand side, businesses should employ. Once they can't employ, or once they can't expand, that means they cannot take in those graduates. Once businesses close down, or they move to other climes, that means unemployment will increase. Then once we can't bring in FDI, foreign direct investment, that also means that there's challenges increasing employment. Then the natural thing to do, or what is expected, and my principals have said it in many climes, is why not focus on those that have the capacity to generate employment? Why not come up with pro-growth policies that will help those that can generate employment? It's a win-win for government, and it's a win-win for all of us. In fact, they call it a self-enlightening interest for government to focus, and he has mentioned it, to focus in supporting private businesses to be able to create employment. The regulatory environment in this climate is quite challenging. And when agencies that are meant to promote businesses are the ones strangulating businesses, then it creates a different challenge. And once you don't support the local businesses to thrive, then it becomes difficult for you to convince an investor to bring his capital to this environment to create jobs for you.
All right, Mr. You just hold your thoughts there. We'll come back to this conversation after the break. We'll take a quick break. We'll, of course, continue with this conversation. And, of course, we'll get the perspective of the International Labour Organization on the same issue. Just stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. We're still talking about the latest unemployment data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, and I still have you with me in the studio. Adewale Oyerinde, the Director Membership Services, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. Yes, before we went on break, you talked about the regulatory environment. Now, recently, the federal government came up with a new KAMA law. How would that help? How would that support employment in Nigeria?
Well, the KAMA will play its role, and one of the key components is reducing the bottlenecks in registration of businesses, amongst many other things. But the regulatory environment goes beyond what KAMA will do. We have to look at the tax environment, because presently we have businesses being burdened with so many taxes, so many levies, what we call extortion in so many names now. So the regulatory environment contains the tax environment, infrastructure, and so many other things. Now the challenge for us is this. In a few months' time, the implementation of the AfCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement, will start. Now, if we don't take a deep look in making businesses competitive here, then we open up the environment, we open up the West African sub-region, we open up the African region for businesses to bring things, to bring services. If we are not careful, the rate of unemployment will increase, because as an investor, why won't I go to a better clime to go and produce when I can bring into Nigeria and sell? So the regulatory environment in the context of what regulatory agencies are doing, are they facilitating businesses? Are they promoting competitiveness, or are they stifling those businesses? I mentioned the issue of tax. The tax, they come in so many different ways. Now, let me share what happened in England just a few days ago. The government came up with a policy to support the fast food business. First, to promote, to make sure that jobs are protected, and to make sure that those businesses are protected. And they come up with the eat out scheme. Now you go out, eat, government will pay a percentage of the fee that you're supposed to pay. Is to drive production. And that way, not only the fast food that will benefit. Now, the farmers that are producing, they will benefit. So as you are pulling the fast food out of the crisis, the fast food is pulling so many other sectors with it out of the crisis.
That's a value chain there.
Those are the deep thinking that we think government should do to make sure that this environment is competitive, it's not strangulating, and it helps businesses to be sustainable long term. Now,
if I may ask, what percentage of workforce did your members have to let go because of the coronavirus pandemic?
While I can't give a specific number, early this year we completed a survey in partnership with the ILO on the effect of COVID-19 on businesses. And I think we're on this platform to say close to 70% of businesses actually closed down. And while we urge our members that please let disengagement be the last resort. And many of those members heeded that cry. Many did not retrench. They still keep their employees. And also in the course of it, we had an MOU with Labour, NLC, to make sure that, look, to a large extent, jobs are protected, pending when we all come out of this COVID-19 crisis. So while we cannot give a specific amount of a detailed figure on how many were released, yes, some were released, but substantially, businesses try to maintain and keep their staff.
Now, a quick one before I let you go. What's the nature of engagement your organization, that's NECA, what nature of engagement have you had with the government of matters, like this?
Yeah, we have so many engagements. My principals have engaged the presidency, we've engaged the task force on COVID-19, we've engaged the CBN, we've engaged the agencies themselves, regulatory agencies, all with the focus of let's together, collaboratively, create an environment for businesses to thrive. You cannot shave my head behind me. If businesses are feeling the pinch, then you have to understand their problems, you have to understand their challenges before we come up with policies. We cannot come up with policies that will be counterproductive to those businesses. So for policies to be effective, for policies to promote growth in the environment, then the input, the deliberate and significant input of the operators in that environment needs to be taken into cognizance.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Our pleasure.
Mr. Oyerinde. Adewale Oyerinde, yes, is a Director, Membership Services, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association.